Welcome, everyone, to tonight's live cast of the Spy Party Competitive League Season 5 Tournament of Position. We are in the second week now, and we have a match tonight between Silver Division's Skrewwl00se and Oak Division Legorve Genine. Joining me as co-caster tonight is Ponoob,
Howdy.
and we have Aberrar hosting, so thank you very much, Aberrar. And so in the first round of the Tournament of Position last week, Legorve Genine from Oak faced another silver opponent in Pofke and had a very, very narrow loss, a scoreline of 7-8, and now gets to take on another silver player. Meanwhile, Skrewwl00se last week also faced another Oak player and got his own loss. And so now we're seeing a Silver versus Oak rematch. Because both players are now with one loss on their record, they are in the bottom half of the bracket. And that means that if they want to earn one of the top 8 spots and get one of the promotion spots in this tournament, they both need to win 3 matches in a row. So the stakes are huge here. Legorve definitely one of the favorites to get those 3 wins, and we're going to see if he's going to be able to pull it out, or if Skrewwl00se is just going to prove that that first loss was a little speed bump and will be able to get the wins himself. Let's take a look at the picks and bans here. The first ban from Skrewwl00se is balcony. He's not very comfortable with it. Usually has a preference for the larger maps where he can focus more on camping, so it's his usual ban. Legorve has banned gallery, which is Skrewwl00se's favorite map. He picks it almost all the time, and Legorve just feels like the skill difference there for them would be a disadvantage to him. Skrewwl00se comes in with a doubled pick of Aquarium, and that's not something that he's been picking a lot during the season. It's a newer map. It was only available for half the season, but he's grown comfortable with it recently. And Legorve was actually hoping that Skrewwl00se wouldn't pick it, so Skrewwl00se may get an early advantage on that map. Legorve has doubled High Rise, any 3 of 5. Skrewwl00se doesn't really like the smaller maps. He doesn't feel particularly comfortable on them. He really likes it when the spy has to do that 4th mission, has to do a hardtail so he can be sure who the spy is.
Yeah, you kind of left the blueprint when it was Dells who beat Skrewwl00se and quite dominantly with 9-2 with High Rise and Terrace. Did you also pick Pub? Just all
Yeah, when
3?
I played Skrewwl00se last week, I chose all of the 3-5s. I chose High
You've
Rise,
gone through.
Pub, and Terrace. Some considered it a little bit of an evil strategy, but we're seeing Legorve do basically the same thing here. This is how the pick ban phase works. If you know your opponent is weak against something, you can pick it. And so Skrewwl00se has chosen Library for for a single pick. It's one of his favorite maps. Legorve is all right with that as well. Legorve has chosen Terrace, any 3 of 5. And that's something the lower seeds have been picking a lot as well. Terrace doesn't get played a lot in the higher divisions, so feels like a good chance to get an upset win. Skrewwl00se picking Veranda. It's a map that both of them are very comfortable with. And Legorve ends with Moderne. Legorve has been dominating Moderne all season as Sniper, but has had pacing issues as Spy. And so if we get to that last match, it could all come down to if Legorve is able to change up that pacing.
So they should be ready to go. We just need to get Screw out of this Twitch chat so he can't be considered stream sniping. And they're starting off with the Aquarium pick.
Great. And I'm just letting the players know that we are ready. And so they should be starting any moment now. So Legorve not super comfortable on Aquarium. We haven't really seen Skrewwl00se play Aquarium in SCL much, but he did mention that he wanted to pick it last week if it wasn't banned, and he's picking it now as his double. So he must feel good about it. And Legorve probably already not off to a great start. I think Legorve can do fine on Aquarium, but just mentally, when it's the one map you don't want your opponent to pick and they double it, I wonder how Legorve is feeling about that. And we have the first game starting with Legorve playing as Tex. Starting
This
off
is
over.
yeah, we're
Go
almost
ahead.
behind the Shark, but it's not going to end up working out because the Shark's going the other direction. I would not want to play Aquarium against anybody who streams because it's been the most popular map for streaming, both because it's fun to play and also just because it's new.
And so Legorve decides not to go for any mission here, just innocently puts the book back. If we had waited a little longer, maybe we could have had a shark, but Legorve decided against it. And now we're going to go and get a flirt next to our seduction target over here at the statues. We are flirting before picking it up. And in fact, I guess we were at the same pad as General. So that's a very, very cheeky flirt. If an AI goes to a statue pad that someone else is already at, they just wait a moment and then they give up and go somewhere else. And that's what you're trying to look like when you
It,
get a
it
flirt
was
like that.
mainly behind the shark, if not completely behind the shark. It's just shark cheese for a flirt, which is a lot of risk for just 34%. Typically, if you're doing a shark cheese, it's for a bug or it's for your final hardtail. Just doing a simple flirt and doing it behind the shark is really going out of your way.
And so we entered in conversation next to General again. We had to wait a little bit to get the flirt off, but now it's at 65%, which means even if we get the
Banana bread.
closest white flirt later, it's only going to be 34%. There's the banana bread coming off. A lot of people in conversation, almost no lowlights available. Only two of them now in the entire party, and two really full conversations have real BB. So even though Legorve only has contact and flirt progress, it's going pretty well as far as those two missions are concerned.
Yeah, there hasn't been much bar action. The banana bread was very good. There's no reason for us to be too worried about a shot coming off yet. It's going to be Legorov needing to do something. He's going with the twitch towards the flirt target. However, we need 35%. We we're never going to get the 100% just based on the white test. So the twitch really doesn't do much, and we need to hit the green test. We don't. We're at the Tobo percent, 99%.
Yeah, I think Legore was hoping for a floating point value, hoping he could maybe get, 34.5%, but unfortunately, I don't think it works that way. Now we're heading into the bar. There aren't a lot of people here, so if we delegate, the
Huh.
suspect pool could be pretty narrow, but a few people join us, and instead we just immediately take the list.
This could be game winning, but Seek, I think, is the only person I've noted who went to the bar and was in the conversation with us. He does take the highlight along with Twin. We have not been highlight for actually doing the direct, which is concerning. These
Yeah, the
highlights
fact
might just be for being in the middle conversation with an ambassador. It might not even be for the Purloin.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it. You would think that the person who took the list would get highlight. Now the highlight finally comes off on us, but just based on the laser movement and those highlights, it looks like Skrewwl00se isn't super confident about how that Purloin went off.
Yeah, so we gotta do one more mission. Ambassador is grabbing a statue, which it's gonna be a bit late to really consider fingerprint. Um, Obviously, the back statues, and Carlos is pretty big. He can block a swap.
And there's neutral lights
Right.
coming off on multiple people, including us. It doesn't look like Skrewwl00se was on top of that Purloin at all. And now it's just a question of what does Legorve think he can get away with? We're going into statues here, and we're immediately going to swap it. And it's a
It's
green
a
swap
green swap. It's
instead.
being watched by the sniper. He's tilting and everything to see it, but he's not going to see the swap right now. The problem is just the amount of time on the clock. We got 14 seconds. With the time running low, it's going to go into overtime with the swap. It's going to be Papa Danger with the summon. There's not much else going on. No shots being lined up yet. I have a bad feeling this is going to be Legorov dying.
The thing is, with the clock hanging, you know it has to be for a swap. We tried to dance behind the shark, but it didn't work. As soon as the clock started hanging, Skrewwl00se knew that it had to be from a swap because the Purloin was already done. And considering the person at the statue was the person who took the list, Skrewwl00se had a nice reason to take that shot, even if he wasn't certain about the Purloin.
Yeah, and he did a really good job with the shot of making it a bit of a flick shot. Both hitting the spy, which is obviously important. He could have hit Little Man there, and also just getting it off quickly because Cowboy was about to sneak up behind that shark, and you could not shoot through the shark.
Yeah,
We're
really,
gonna
really well
be
timed shot.
1-0 to Skrewll00se. Good start. Really didn't have much to shoot for prior, other than because he didn't have a full grasp on the Purloin. So it's timing makes sense. Composure with the shot. If he can keep that sort of composure moving forward, I like his chances.
And here's Skrewwl00se playing as Tex this time, starting off with a nice green flirt over at the windows. We're not going to get in any flirt trouble this game.
Yeah,
Now we're
Legore is
entering
going to be jealous of
conversation.
that flirt because we had 3 white flirts and one of them was just with a slight more distance. Skrewll00se not going to have that problem.
Yeah, we're entering conversation with the double agent here, but the conversations aren't really full, so it's not a great time for it. Skrewwl00se probably not feeling great about it, wondering how much time he wants to waste here waiting for a good contact. But there are a lot of people at the bar, and a really good option in that case is either to join them or to wait for one of them to come next to you and pretend that they sent you to get the list.
Yeah, so this is a situation where if everybody's outside of conversation and if there's no banana bread, that's still probably a good thing. In this case, it's just if you actually close on the issue. So in this case, a lot of people have been to bar. If we aren't doing a purloin, we're potentially just leaving an opportunity on the table.
And the
93%
seduction
flirt.
target comes right back to us. We get the flirt up to 93% with another green test, even though we're far away. It'll just take one more flirt at any point to get it done. So Skrewwl00se almost doesn't even have to worry about flirt at all. Here we are heading on over to the green
Shark will
bookshelf.
block this.
Dark is blocking this, and that indicates that we're probably going to go for a microfilm. Now's the time for it, but we don't do the microfilm despite being there behind the shark. We really
Banana
wanted to get
bread.
this banana bread instead, and it's another good time for it. Not many lowlights available. Smallman
This one's
hiding at
fake
the
though.
back corner.
This one's fake. We do get highlight along with the rest of the real group, but that was only because we were unfortunately with the SDA. I think that's going to really hinder our chances of mission completing, but it does mean that it's more likely that someone gets shot. The twin, for example, that just walked into conversation and immediately talked, looking quite suspect.
Yeah, Legorve doesn't shoot civilians very often, but on a map like this where it's not one of the ones Legorve is the most comfortable on, we could see a civilian shot come off if he makes a wrong assumption about that banana bread.
Yeah, it looks like Legorv's trying to keep angle on two things. The twin in the middle of the conversation who was next to the ambassador, and us who's doing a little sidestep here to get our fingerprintable statue. We do hit the green, which is a nice plus for Skrewwl00se.
That's a really interesting play, and whenever a spy does it, you're never sure. Did they do it on purpose to try to confuse you about which statue they were going to, or did they just forget which one the fingerprint was on? Either way, it doesn't look very spy-like to go statue to statue like that, so it's probably working out for Skrewwl00se.
Legorve did do a safety off. He didn't do it directly on Skrewwl00se, he actually did it on the shark, which could only mean two things. One, he doesn't like Skrewwl00se and didn't want to put his laser on him, or two, he really doesn't like the shark. And to be fair, why would you like the shark? He's in the way of everything.
Well, Skrewwl00se is going to go into complete
We're gonna
inspect
get
now.
shot.
And
We're
as a
good.
big character, if you're worried about an inspect swap finish, this is when you take the shot. Fingerprint as well. We're going to get the inspect now, and we're not going to swap the statue instead, though.
He's
Skrewwl00se maybe
considering
worried
it.
that he would have let the statue be seen. Maybe because he was getting the inspect and the fingerprint, he
The
didn't
one
feel he had
cycle
enough time.
really helps out there. So I think Legorve has a good understanding that we've been to at least one fingerprintable statue. He obviously knows that we've been to both statues. We just haven't gotten that fourth mission, and because he did a one cycle, it means that we don't have to worry particularly about the swap. Red Dress is really not helping us, and Red Dress is going to get us killed. So what happened there is he goes into conversation, Red Dress follows up behind us, in that sort of timing that would match a green swap, and the shark is going and covering Red Dress. It actually would be a perfect swap if we had taken the swap, and we have to take the shot before we can even really ever see the statue to confirm actually he didn't swap.
That sounds like an amazing shot from Legorve. Very similar to the shot we saw in the first game, taking the shot while you have the chance, because the shark might be blocking the thing that you need in order to take it later.
Yeah, the problem with that sort of shot is it's a situation that AI often put you in. In this case, though, it was indeed the spy.
And so we have Legorve playing as Ponytail this time, entering right next to our seduction target, wanting to get that early
Uh,
flirt, but she leaves.
I love early red tests. It's like, hey girl, you want to come back to? And she's gone. You're like, okay, I'll try again later.
But here's the ambassador coming near us as this middle shark is crossing. Unfortunately, the ambassador walks away, so we won't be able to get the bug. It's a little bit of an unfortunate start for Legorve. He was so excited about getting that first early flirt that he that he flubbed it. But we are with the double agent now, and the conversations are looking pretty full. We could go for a contact. We would only rule out really a couple
It's
people at the
5 at
moment.
the hard moment, and DA's gone. I think the one thing to note here is there is a fingerprintable statue in the future, and knowing these players, I know Skrewwl00se very much likes his fingerprints, and Legorv just likes the most efficient thing on the table. He's just very clean, no bug. And He has no completion actually. We're a minute in.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate mission progress for Legorve, but now we're going in trying to get the flirt. Instead, we miss the pad over at the statues. We are going to get our first inspect, but that means you're going to be picking up a highlight despite having no other mission progress. And
Yeah.
Legorve has been using statues as a little bit of a quick fix for mission progress in general. He's had some pacing issues, so he likes to just kind of go for the statues because, hey, at least it's a mission. But it's the easy one, and we
Banana
need to
bread.
see with only 2.5 minutes left what Legorve is going to do. There's a banana bread
Whoa.
immediately into a bug behind the shark. That's mission progress.
Yeah, and we do have a line of action here too, so we need to actually get this flirt. But there is fingerprintable statue. Obviously, statues are always readily available, and there is a difficult though with new fingerprint rules. It's going to get burnt out pretty quickly if we're not careful at the green bookcase now that Ambassador is returning.
Do you think
So
that Legorv should go for fingerprints here, or should he just go for another statue and finish with the flirt?
I think probably flirt and statue, but that we have like backup plans in case our selection target's rude is always good. We might still get shot for the last inspect just because of the suspicion that comes with, I mean, another reverse drive-by situation that we just passed. That bug might just be credited as it's often credited on Aquarium. We've had a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, it's just a question of was Skrewwl00se on top of that, immediate enter in a conversation, banana bread, leave, and bug. It was a whirlwind of action, and if Skrewwl00se wasn't on top of it, then Legorv should be able to get away with another inspect and flirt here. But if there's any suspicion at all, then the second statue visit could get Legorv shot, especially since Legorv seems to be going for it in the last minute now. That's the time spies like to go for their second statue visit.
Yeah, the thing I would like here is just go into one of the side statues. Don't threat the swap if we're going to do a statue. Now's the time, and Legorv agrees. We did have our arms crossed there, but the thing I would not appreciate, don't go to the fingerprintable statue that looks like it's going to be swapped. Ooh, we bailed out of
What
that real
was
hard.
that? I don't know why we swerved away from it. I believe Taft has the one with the fingerprint on it, but we decided not to go for it. Now we're going to go over to the other side statues at the back. It's an interesting move. I don't know why Legorv chose to wait. Maybe just hoping for a high shark to come.
Skrewwl00se is not happy. There's a lot of shaking there, and it doesn't seem tactical. We
And
got
there's
10
the
seconds
mission
here.
finish from Legorv finishing the inspect. No shot going to be coming off from Skrewwl00se. Skrewwl00se was just not on top of the banana split into bug after all and has no reason to shoot Legorv here.
I mean, with Aquarium, we had two opportunities to do reverse drive-bys at least, and then we had the dive bug. Even not taking the shot, you're going to end up taking that shot, and it's sometimes just going to be AI who did two inspects. Uh, but it would have been justified to shoot, justified to not shoot, given that we didn't see the bug. Um, Obviously, preferably would have shot, given
Yeah, I was just worried about the
Skrewwl00se's.
spy timing of going to statues late being a problem, but it looks like it wasn't. Skrewwl00se just seemingly had other suspects there. Now Skrewwl00se starting off as one of the twins. We're in a wonderful conversation here. The ambassador, the seduction target, and the double agent. Middle shark coming by now. This is the time to bug. Is Skrewwl00se going to go for it? And he does. As the shark is moving, he just walks over, takes the bug, and returns not to the spot he was originally in, but to the spot next to the seduction target so we can get a nice close flirt, and it's up to 35% now. Just need one more. We're going to wait here for it, and we can even do a contact. What a wonderful conversation this is.
Yeah, we're in a situation too where if you're like, I'm gonna try and remember what this middle conversation looks like, and then the shark goes by, and then you see it the conversation 10 seconds later. Now the twins are standing next to each other, and
And
you go,
actually, the bug didn't even take. I thought it did. I thought it did. It looked like we got the movement perfect, but Skrewwl00se turned around a little bit too early, so there's actually no bug credit after all. The double agent left, so we weren't able to get that. And unfortunately, despite that conversation being so wonderful, we're coming out of it with just a flirt, but it is at 86%, which is nice.
do you happen to know how honest Legorve's highlights are? Does he highlight for things he's suspicious of?
Uh,
Ooh.
well, I
Well,
think we got the answer to that. Skrewwl00se just highlight now for passing by the ambassador and getting that bug. It's such a shame that the first one didn't take because we weren't suspected for it, but that second one does get us highlight.
I
Uh,
think what might have been a bit eye-grabbing is we went to the bar and we left really quick. So the AI do get bored at the bar and just give up. But it usually takes like Toby visiting 3 people, I would say on average, before they give up. There wasn't much. We kind of just decided to take that opportunity. Uh, Someone's being safety off by Legorve, and it's not us. I think it's Boots. This is
That's
not going to frame Boots. There's no SDA in that conversation.
Banana bread.
Hold up. Yes, there is.
yeah,
Boots takes the banana bread as the SDA walks in there. We get the banana bread on our side. We might be second suspect, but I think you'll take this at the moment. The
Yeah, at
bug
this
is
point, it's just going to come down to, is Legorve going to shoot Boots or not? If Boots goes and does something, a statue visit, a fingerprint, she could get shot. But Skrewwl00se doesn't know that. Skrewwl00se deciding to go over here to the blue bookcase instead. There is a
it's a fingerprint.
fingerprint on this, and Skrewwl00se does like to go for fingerprints. And Legorve is aware of that, but usually it doesn't matter. Boots gets the shot. She didn't even do anything. We're
She
just so
talked.
sure about it that we shoot her just in case she's finishing with a flirt.
Yeah, and it doesn't help for Boots' case that her talking animation is incredibly animated, annoyingly so. But yeah, the play there, if it wasn't abundantly clear, there was a fingerprintable statue that was actually being fingerprinted as that shot went off. So we did have a good line of play. Um, I think Skrewwl00se was in a good position, even if it wasn't for Boots trying to get herself killed. I'm not sure what she necessarily did to get so much suspicion, though.
Either way, the score is now 2-2. If Legorve had been able to take that sniper shot, he would have gone up 3-1 on Skrewwl00se's aquarium pick, but Legorve is probably happy just to have held on a map that he didn't feel super comfortable with. Now we're going on to High Rise. Just last week, Skrewwl00se lost High Rise 0-4, and we're going to see if he's adjusted his game plan here.
Yeah, the concern I have for Skrewwl00se is because he's in silver and he could not no longer get to gold. Things like, did you end up practicing your 3 of 5s after you lost 3 of 5s? He has a bit less to play for. Obviously, he's still going to want to win. Legorve, however, is one of the favorites in the loser bracket. He is going to have, I mean, this is an absolutely brutal thing to see on your loser side, but is definitely going to be, I mean, he's clearly done his research if he's picking Terrace and High Rise, for example.
And so we have Legorve starting off as Irish. The mission setup is the standard one. The hard tells are off, and that's exactly what you need to do against Skrewwl00se, who seemingly isn't always comfortable knowing whether or not to shoot an AI who has finished statue inspects or fingerprints or not. We get a nice early flirt for 34%. We have the double agent in conversation with us as well. If the conversations were to fill up, we could go for the early contact.
Yeah, just given the texture of the set, I would say that Legorve is a general favorite. I'm not sure why we're twitching forward there. Um, the concern I have though for Legorve is he just hasn't hit like a single green test yet. He needs to pick up his just micro game if he's gonna continue getting chances at spy wins. This could become a very sniper heavy game.
And the seduction target
Hello.
enters right next to us, and here's the green test that you were hoping for. Flirt up to 85% right now. Skrewwl00se doesn't really do a lot of flirt pairing anyway, even on 3-5s. It's probably one of the reasons why he's more comfortable on the larger maps where you don't have to focus on flirt pairing as much. But this does mean that it'll be really easy for Legorve to finish the flirt without getting any suspicion for chasing or for picktalking.
I don't love this position. It's the sort of position where you're standing next to Twin and you end up getting a bit more suspicion from that. If you're trying to line up a bug or
Banana
something, you still
bread.
have the drink in your hand.
There's the
Uh,
banana bread coming off. Multiple people, Twin and Salmon, leaving conversation immediately afterwards. Skrewwl00se likes to do banana splits as spy on 3-5, so he might therefore assume that Legorve would do them as well. It's the sort of projection that players have. They assume that players will do the same things they do. So those two could be big suspects for leaving immediately after the banana bread. They certainly didn't get low lit for it.
if you're splitting on a 3 of 5 map, good on you. That's bold. We did have a nice little spot there where we were talking to the ambassador and the double agent. It just looks really unsuspicious when all you're doing is chatting with cast. Can't be flirts.
Yeah, I would say Skrewwl00se is definitely behind right now. That contact let in so many people, and it made a few people look suspicious for leaving quickly after it.
Pearls is
Pearls
flirting with us.
returns to us. We're going to finish the flirt with no risk at all of looking like we were chasing. Pearls would be the suspect, but she's low lit. The only question is, how does Legorve plan on finishing this? If you go
Twin
for
might get shot
statue,
here.
will
Um,
you be shot?
okay, Twin really helping us out. So Ambassador took a drink. Twin's already highlit, and he got offered a drink. Thankfully, he did not take the fingerprint from Skrewll00se's side. Double agent taking's by far the best thing that could happen for Screw.
It doesn't look to me like Skrewwl00se is going to be certain about any shot. If that twin went to statues or got a print, maybe. But if you look at the other highlight general, just waiting around in conversation, Skrewwl00se could actually let Legorve time out if Legorve doesn't finish missions here. A bug
Why
would
are
be
we
really
still holding the
dangerous.
drink? We've only done 2 sips, and we've been here for like 2 minutes.
I
It's just
think Legorve might just be hoping that Skrewwl00se shoots a civilian, but those highlights just aren't doing anything. And in fact, there's only 4 people who aren't low lit at the moment. Legorve is going to need to finish missions if he wants this win. I don't think Legorve would get shot for
Banana
statues.
bread.
Instead, it's another Banana Bread ruling out General as a suspect. We're doing a
oh
bug in the
no.
aftermath, but General gets shot anyway, even though he was outside of conversation when the Banana Bread happened.
Yeah, so General is outside the conversation. As he's lining up the shot, our our silly butt is just twitching towards the ambassador in the most suspicious twitch I've ever seen. But he's just tunneled. He wanted to shoot General, and he gave him an excuse, even if it wasn't well executed. Um, it it's enough in this situation. It's unfortunate. Screw on Twin. Here, hopefully, can bring him back on the spy side because he's going to be shooting himself in the foot on that one.
Yeah, it really just indicates Skrewwl00se's frame of mind. General was still walking into conversation when the banana bread happened. If Skrewwl00se was calm and focused, it's more likely that he would have seen that. But it looks like he just didn't know how to handle it. Unfortunately, here's a nice green test, getting the flirt up to 42%. The conversations are really full, and we don't have an SDA, so a fake banana bread could be really good here. But Skrewwl00se doesn't know that.
Take it, Ambassador. No. So there's 2 reasons why you want the ambassador to take drinks. One is so you can get fingerprints, which are on, and second is so other people can get fingerprints and get shot. Because getting 2 fingerprints on high rise isn't actually that uncommon.
Meanwhile,
He's
Legorve has
highlighting.
just highlit. Everyone in this bottom conversation indicates to me that Legorve thinks he saw no talk. That's what happens when it is your turn to talk. You get a yellow arrow telling you to talk, but you don't start talking, and therefore no one in the conversation is talking, which confirms that the spy is in that conversation.
Yeah, he's not going so far to just low light the people who weren't in that conversation, which seems like good risk management in
I'm
my
getting some
eye.
buffering here. Is that happening for you as well?
Not, I just drop back a second. I'm not getting any yet. Red dress looks like she's flirting with us, by the way. I think she might be top suspect now.
Great, my stream is back. We almost had an opportunity for a reverse drive-by with the ambassador there, but wasn't taken. We're entering next to our seduction target. We're far away from them, and unfortunately, we failed this fingerprint red test. Legorve is definitely someone who does flirt pairing quite well, and so especially on 3-5s, it'll be something that Legorve relies on. And we do have the
Banana
worst
bread.
flirt pairing in the game. There's the banana bread coming off. A few people outside of conversation, letting off, I believe, 3 lowlights, which is a little bit more than you want on high rise. There's only 2 people left in the party who can be the spy, and it is both twins.
Yeah,
And
the
as I
only
was
blessing here is we know that we're the second most suspect person because the other twin is still the highlight one. He was the one who was talking during the banana bread, implying a white test. The problem is, if we have a good count, and I'm pretty sure we do, the only way this twin really gets shot is if he goes to middle statues. Maybe Phantom a bug, but when you only have 2 suspects to watch, even that's not something I would particularly expect.
Yeah, and so the question is, if Skrewwl00se goes in for statues now, is he going to be shot? Because Legorve just has to make a decision of which twin is the spy, and I think the earlier you go for statues, the better, because then you force Legorve into making the decision.
Safety off here, but I think it's maybe in part because the seduction target is talked so many times. Generally, the spy is going to choose to not talk if given the option, and only talk when they're flirting or required to. The seduction target's given up on that idea entirely, but he's an AI. He doesn't have to care about being an AI. He
No,
just
our only
is.
hope is that the seduction target walks away from that bookshelf in what looks like a bug path. Skrewwl00se not looking to finish missions here. No sign that he's going to go for statues or a bug or anything, just hoping a civilian gets shot. But Skrewwl00se doesn't realize how narrowed down the party was. And with the other twin not doing anything, there's no way Legorve will take the shot. Skrewwl00se goes for the bug instead, and that's going to get him shot.
Yeah, the dance comes off. Legorve doing a real good job covering the bug from the seduction target, and then, I mean, taking a real wide angle to watch that bug path. The arm just goes straight through the ambassador. He's impaled.
Skrewwl00se made the correct call there that Legorve wasn't going to shoot anyone, so he had no choice but to go for that bug. Even if it was a low percentage play, it was better than a 0% play.
So we move on to more high rise.
Yep, and that's Legorve going up 2-0 so far. Skrewwl00se really hoping to avoid a repeat of last week. Really needs a sniper win here.
Yeah, and 2-0 on high rise, 4-2, I do believe, and a good job
Yep.
of Bear on updating the scoreboard right as I look at it.
And so we have Legorve playing as Hare, also known as Oprah or Red Dress. We're going to go in for a flirt with General over here at the bookcase. Legorve had some flirting issues on Aquarium, doesn't want to run into the same problem here, but gets highlight for it. Skrewwl00se seems to think that that was a very flirty bookcase visit. Did we pick up the flirt before picking up the book?
Potentially. Either way, it's a good highlight. It's one of my favorite on high rise is the double people at Blue Bookcase, just because that bookcase is quite small.
But we
It's
are
not.
brought back down to neutral. Skrewwl00se maybe not super confident about it. What we have to hope for Skrewwl00se here is that he still remembers the flirt pairing, even if he removed the highlight. And we're gonna have to see if Legorve enters next to General again. There's an opportunity for it at statues, but that would be pretty aggressive, and Legorve decides not to take it.
Yeah, Legorve has always shown just good decision making. You do see some players that's their spy side where good decision making just results in no decisions being made. Uh, but Legorve taking adequate amounts of risk, and I really do appreciate his spy play. I think though his sniper is where the real fear begins.
And the seduction target has entered back with us. It's a little bit far away, but we get the flirt up to 61%. That will mean that we need 2 more white tests, but we could get a green test to finish it off later. And luckily, because General entered with us, there's no major risk of Skrewwl00se remembering that flirt pairing.
Yeah, the concern I have here for Legorve is, and I think what he should play around is assume that he's going to have to do two whites. While you can get close enough to do the, what will be 39% on the next flirt, he just hasn't been hitting enough greens to really assume that.
Yeah, and
No.
General, remember, he was at center statues when we had the opportunity to take that flirt with him. So General could get shot if there's a banana bread. Skrewwl00se will have to decide if this guest who went to center statues is the spy or not. Meanwhile, Legorve is picking up a fingerprint over here from the blue bookcase. Looks like Legorve's plan is to finish the flirt, get another fingerprint, and go for a contact. Of course, if a bug ever comes up, Legorve will definitely take that as well.
Do you think Legorv's instinct is, or sorry, knowledge is that General did go to mid statue? It is often more noticed when it's your seduction target, and General is indeed our seduction target.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. There's Queen over at statues as well. There are a lot of statue highlights. We're stepping in
Banana
for a
bread.
bug here, and we immediately do the banana bread afterwards, and it looks like we're getting low lit for it because we weren't talking, and Skrewwl00se apparently doesn't think Legorve would have entered and done an immediate banana bread. But now Legorve has gotten away with a contact, gotten away with a bug, and is low lit. That's the moment that Skrewwl00se has lost this game unless he finds some way to recover it.
Yeah, so what Legorv did there, he did a really late bug, but it was still a walking bug, and then he was doing the banana bread to cut the animation. Especially if you're doing like a talking animation, it cuts the bug animation short. Because he actually greened the banana bread, I'm not sure precisely the animation, how it's treated by the game, but he gets paid off anyways
Well,
for
here there's
the.
only 17 seconds left, and Legorve needs to finish the flirt. We are going to be able to enter with General close enough to get it, but we need to hope he doesn't
No!
leave. That's a 98%. We didn't enter close enough, and Legorve is now throwing away this game that he had completely won. There's no way to finish now, and Legorve times out despite being low lit for a bug.
Yeah, so just I think he might have felt the highlight on the banana bread, but it wasn't a highlight, it was a low light. So he gave him a bit more space in the flirt, trying to really edge it to just hit 100. Hits 98%. He got 4 white flirts in a row. Uh, it's nice to know that what I predicted in that regard came to fruition, but it's not nice for Legorv because that's actually just it's a throw. He doesn't necessarily know he's low lit, but from our perspective, it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, I think what might have happened is I think we needed, what was it, 22% for the flirt? And I think Legorv might have just assumed, oh, it's only 22%. I can get that from anywhere. But you really still need to be somewhat close. The lowest is 17. You need to be a little bit higher on the scale. And that's just so unfortunate for Legorv. But the good news is Legorv still holds the lead. 4-3. Skrewwl00se being gifted a win. Let's see what Skrewwl00se can do with that momentum here, playing as Smallman this time.
Shout outs to Warning Track in the chat with a bit of PTSD. He's done somehow done worse. More highlights coming off here. It's gonna be Rocker as the flirt highlight. Nasty
There's
bug, nasty
Bug as the
gosh,
ambassador was crossing, but Skrewwl00se gets immediately shot. Legorve was just on top of it. And so Legorve, despite that tragic, tragic timeout, which is still burned into my mind, is going to go up 3-1 on high rise, bringing the total score to 5-3.
Yes, that bug. It was a reverse drive-by, and didn't really see the ambassador coming or the arm, but Legorv did.
And that's good. It shows that Legorve didn't get tilted by that timeout, didn't let it get to him, and still was able to keep focused. Now we are entering into Library, Legorve playing as Duke, and this is where we're really going to see Legorve has been struggling with mission progress a lot as Spy throughout the season. Now we're on a 5 of 8. That's a lot of missions you need to do, and Legorve is immediately starting with some mission progress, taking this book out of yellow. Skrewwl00se not really looking at it at all, indicates to me that Legorve is planning to go for a microfilm transfer.
Yeah, when it comes to library, the first things you want to be looking at, Ambassador, memorize your statues, Toby. Books are like fourth or fifth on the list, and there's just so much you have to be going back and forth on the quick book pull. Really, the way to recover it as a sniper is you see someone with a book and you go, I don't know where you came from. That's suspect. I need to keep an eye on you.
Yeah, meanwhile, Legorv is just trying to bide his time before putting this book back. We're not with our seduction target, though, so there's really nothing in this conversation. Ambassador walks by. That's an opportunity for a bug if we want to take it. The Ambassador is standing on our right. That's not the hand with the book. If the sniper laser moves away, we can go for a bug here, but the Ambassador leaves. Now I'm wondering, is Legorv going to put this book back? Does he think it's been enough time for Skrewwl00se to forget where it came from? And it looks like the answer is yes. We're going to return this book to blue. This is the moment of truth. Does Skrewwl00se have any inclination? And he does. He's very aware of where that book came from and confidently takes the shot. Legorve tried to make some mission progress, and it didn't work.
Yeah, so Skrewwl00se had been marking most of the books, which on library, not always that valuable because if they get to the bookcase, they're facing away from you. That book was unmarked, and I think it was unmarked for a reason because Skrewll00se had such a good idea of where it was. It doesn't help that we were on camera anyways because of things like the threatening bug position.
And now the score is back to 4-5. Skrewwl00se just needs to get a win as Spy here to bring it back to even. And remember, the higher seed has the advantage in a tiebreaker, so if it does go back to being tied, Skrewwl00se is essentially ahead at that point because he would need one less win than Legorve to reach that win.
Yeah, in other words, they both need 4 wins. So in that sense, it's kind of tied. We are doing a time ad behind the window. Uh, There's highlights going off there. It doesn't look like the time head was caught. We're back to 4:30.
Yeah, the highlights are for people who were at the railing at the start. Legorve is aware that Skrewwl00se likes to do time ads, and so was keeping extra close look on people starting off at the railing who could be time adding. But it looks like Legorve didn't consider the possibility of Skrewwl00se doing his usual time ad at the back window instead.
Okay, and now we're chilling.
We have time. We did a time ad, but usually you want to capitalize on it a little bit. It's a good idea to go in for the flirt. We're trying for it at the windows here, and Boots miraculously doesn't leave before it goes off. Hit a nice green test up to 81% with over 3.5 minutes left. Finishing the flirt won't be a problem at this point.
I'm kind of wishing that she had done that little stupid turnaround, just so we could have seen her come back to us. Doesn't matter. We got the big green. Now we're in the highlight for the side statue. We haven't done any hardtails.
Yeah, we're picking up this really early highlight. Legorve's highlights are for statues. Some of the early ones might have been for people who could have time added over at the railing. And so, since there was a time ad, Legorve might be extra suspicious of those people.
There's a lot of value in this conversation. So we got double agent, the ambassador, and we're being offered a drink. We could do 2 or 3 missions in quick succession. We're going with 0.
Well, we still have the opportunity to go for the contact. The conversations are pretty full at
Banana
this
bread.
point. The
This is
first one
cute.
and the second one. There's a banana split.
Hey
Let's see
boss,
if
we
Legorve low
we
lights
got a
us.
fingerprintable briefcase in our hand. We can't have done a banana bread. Low light us. Doesn't look like
Unfortunately,
fits.
Legorve's not going to do it. I think Legorve might just not have had that side of the map in his view at the time, and so that's the problem with Library. You can do something really nice to get low lit, but the sniper just doesn't see it. Now we're
That,
near the
that that play
Ambassador.
worked every time in season 3, by the way. But these boys are getting more and more knowledge about the cheeky things you can do, and banana bread with a briefcase in hand is one of them.
If that laser moves away, we could go for a bug here. The laser is on the other side. It's been holding there for quite a few seconds. Skrewwl00se could have gone for the bug, but decided not to take it. Now the moment may have passed, but no one is invading the Ambassador's space, so they're going to be there for a while. We're heading on over here to the yellow bookcase. There's no fingerprint here, so the main option is microfilm. We're stealing the book. I don't think Legorve was looking at it, so we might be able to get away with a direct transfer. Now the book has been marked yellow, though. Legorve didn't see the book come out, but knew that it could only have come from yellow.
Yeah, and Skrewwl00se immediately puts it back. You want actually? Oh, now we're marked it as green. Uh-oh.
That's interesting. I mean, I think Skrewwl00se could feel the laser on the book and just knew, okay, it's been marked. I can't get away with this. And so wisely made the decision not to go for it. The problem is we're running a little bit low on mission progress, and Skrewwl00se decides to go for another time ad as a result of that. Legorve not watching that half of the venue at all.
Yeah, we have 4 highlights as the sniper. Now 3. There's just a few highlights in the party, and that's gonna get us shot.
It looks like Skrewwl00se is really determined to go for the microfilm transfer, stealing out another book again, but this time he hides behind the pillar with it so that Legorve can't see that he has a book.
It got marked. It got immediately acknowledged, and with this time, if you're returning it back to blue, you're really conceding that you're not trying to finish missions. It's a tough spot, because you really don't have anything to do with this book.
It's going to be another time ad. Are we trying to do it before Legorve can look at us? No, we're doing a time ad, and then we're staying at the window. If Legorve notices the time ad, we can become a huge suspect for it. I mean, it's our third time ad. Now we're reading the book. This is a very suspicious spot. Is it, I believe, the #1 most suspicious spot to read your book at?
It's
But we
just the
don't
most
do the
suspicious
transfer.
thing that you can do without just breaking the rules of the game. Like, of course an AI can go read back there, but I hate it with a passion.
We're stepping in
Okay,
to
let's
finish
flirt.
our flirt finally. I mean, the mission progress isn't looking that bad. I mean, we only need one more print. I would get rid of this book as soon as possible so we can get the print off this drink, which the ambassador is about to take.
Something
But
like a
that would mean
walking
jamming
bug
it into
here would be.
yellow. Nothing is going to work here for Skrewwl00se.
Yeah, Ambassador doesn't move. We are forced to just because of the time constraints. This might be a bullet in 3, 2, 1. Come on, Legorve.
No shot from
Legorve.
Legorve. Legorve wasn't sure of where that book came from or just has other places to focus. Skrewwl00se has gotten away with the microfilm transfer, and now we're in a much better shot to get a win. Skrewwl00se is requesting the drink, hoping that there's still a print on it. Unfortunately, there is not, which means that if... Oh, there
Yeah, there
is.
is. It's
Sorry, I was looking at the
difficult. We
action
hit the
log, and I
green.
thought
Let's
that it didn't show
go.
up. Green fingerprint off the drink. That's perfect. Now all we need to do is gulp it and go for another statue visit and hope that that gets us the win. Legorve probably not tracking that difficult drink print, didn't know that we did the microfilm. Suddenly, Skrewwl00se is in an amazing position here to have the ability to finish. The only question is, will he be shot for this statue visit?
Yeah, the problem, we've already tested the sniper at the bookcase. Now we're testing, do you want to shoot for the inspect? The laser comes over for like a fake highlight.
And
The
here's
laser's
the
on
mission
our
win
back.
countdown. Legorve is staring right at it for a swap, but takes the shot anyway.
That was a really close game. I feel like Legorve had a bit more of a grasp, or at least felt like he did, but he didn't shoot for the microfilm, he didn't shoot for the print. But you do so many crimes, at some point you gotta do the time.
Yeah, Skrewwl00se did a really great job bringing that game back. I mean, getting away with that second microfilm after Legorve was on top of the first one, getting a difficult drink print. I mean, he did the exact play that I said he should. I said, go jam the book in so you can get the print, and he did it. He hit the green. It was really an amazing save of a lack of mission progress. And it's just unfortunate that it didn't work out in the end because he had the spy timing for that late second statue visit. Just a few slight modifications could have made that a win for Skrewwl00se.
We
And now we're
actually
heading into
look.
Terrace
Yeah,
with
we're
Legorve
playing some
versus
terrace. I'm gonna just finish up the conversation about that last swap. Just looking back on the sniper replay, it really does look like being Salmon Danger really screwed us. Just because of his big body and the way that he ended up doing his statue animations, he really couldn't get good eyesight on the statue, and that may well have just been a shot for assumed swap.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we were seeing on Aquarium in the first two games. Remember, both of these snipers showed that if they aren't going to have the opportunity to take a shot for something that's potentially about to happen, they'll take the shot early. And that's what Legorve did.
Banana
Legorve's
bread.
shaking the camera now, tried to get a banana bread off, and the double agent left. It's called a sunshine, and Legorve is not happy about it, letting off a few lowlights now, getting no mission progress. All we have is a flirt at 33%.
Yeah, shout out to Bill Withers and Ant No Sunshine. Typically we apply it to the selection target, but DAs are also allowed to leave. It's another one of those things where I wish Legorve was hitting a few more greens. That's a nice bug.
Fantastic. Getting a bug as the ambassador was leaving conversation and walking behind us. And because the ambassador is Taft, and this is why people make Taft the ambassador, our arm went right inside him and it just wasn't seen at all by Skrewwl00se. And the way Terrace works is if you get the bug off, that is the moment the game is won. The only problem is that that first banana bread let off some
Banana bread.
lowlights, and we are going to have to do a second one. Here it is, and it's a fake this time. Letting off, I believe, one more low light, but making that left conversation seem incredibly suspicious. Do you think we needed to do a fake, or could we have gotten away
So
with a win because of that bug?
we're not. I think the fake here is really good, but it's not for the typical reason that fakes are good. So fakes are good because, like, as the main reason, because they get civilians shot. This fake's good though for a different reason. So we've already done 2 banana breads.
This is a purloin happening.
What are
A
you doing,
pearl,
Legorve?
in a direct
Oh,
purloin
sorry.
when you've already gotten away with a bug.
Yeah, I don't like that play at all. I think he's trying to frame someone when he already had the bug, and I just don't get it.
I completely agree. Like I was saying on Terrace, if you've gotten away with a clean bug, the sniper is not going to shoot you just for flirting and banana bread. And I think that Legorve unfortunately threw that one away.
Yeah,
Another point.
it's nice after the Screw got the thrown away game on High Rise that they're trading, but maybe that was a flub. Maybe he meant to take the delegate. Maybe it's just nerves. There's not a good logical reason to take that purloin. He had plenty of time to finish the flirt. And the reason I was saying I like that banana bread is it really makes the third banana bread. You're like, is this one real? Are you just gonna do a fourth banana bread? Is this really like it really just kind of throws off why you're doing the second banana bread when the DA split in the first conversation. It really makes the second banana bread look real if you don't do anything else. And instead, we're just purloined. And now we're highlight for going to bar.
Yep, and that's just standard highlights, highlighting everyone who goes to the bar so that we can track who was there in case a purloin goes off. What it looks like to me is that Legorve was just feeling a little bit overconfident in that last game. It makes sense. Terrace has gone very well for the lower seeds in this tournament, and it's a 3-5, which he didn't expect Skrewwl00se to be comfortable on. But remember, the reason Skrewwl00se isn't comfortable on the 3-5s is because he's not sure what to do about the soft tells. If you do a hard tell, you gave him a reason to shoot. And so we're going to see if Legorve gets overconfident again here as sniper. Skrewwl00se already getting a nice first fingerprint from the bar there.
Yeah, we did get highlight for going to the bar, and I think it may well actually just be for the fingerprint, if not a combination. Orange dress is getting neutral lit. We're getting neutral lit. Okay, so it is bar light. Since no purling went off within the first minute, he's taking down the highlights, saying I don't need to use this as a tool to remember
However, it was
purling.
a little bit early to lower our highlight because we did still have the option to delegate. Let's see if Boots can get this list before the timer goes off. She can't. Skrewwl00se fired it off, probably knowing it was unlikely to work, but there was no reason not to. And now Skrewwl00se is highlit again. Legorve might have noticed that the person standing next to us went over to the bar, even if the purloin doesn't happen. And now we're just going to see, is Skrewwl00se going to be able to get away with a second fingerprint without being shot?
Oof, that was a quick turnaround on the, take that Irish, no fingerprint for you.
And
This
it's
will
a
be our
difficult
second.
fingerprint
Oh,
on the briefcase. Skrewwl00se doesn't get it, and that's really unfortunate. He may be credited for it anyway, and going for another fingerprint at this point could just be really, really easy to spot.
yeah, so Legorve's issues have been a bit of just end game nerves with the purloin there and the unfortunate high rise game. I think Legorve has been playing a bit better, and he's likely going to shoot Skrewwl00se here. It's just,
Banana bread.
can we get a bit of sense at the end of the set and not just more spaghetti as we go on?
And there's the banana bread coming off. It doesn't look like there are a ton of lowlights available, so it works out pretty well for Screw. The only problem is he's a highlight, and it's very easy to see that he was in that conversation. We tried to do a wrong arm bug leaving the conversation, but we started it a little bit too early, so it didn't take, but it also wasn't seen. Now the flirt's at
Construction target.
100%, and all we have is 14 seconds left to either go for a bug or another fingerprint. The only way we could get the print is if the ambassador immediately put the briefcase down. That's not going to happen. Skrewwl00se going to be walking over to the window, going for a time ad instead. Didn't feel like he could get the bug, and that's the correct decision for sure, but he still gets shot for the time ad.
Yeah, there's no thought there. While shooting for time ads is never advisable, uh, really, you're the only person at window and it's terrace. Like, say lobby.
Yeah, this set has just been a constant situation of Skrewwl00se being in the situation to go back up to a tie if he just got one more win, but never being quite able to pull it out. And now we're going on to Veranda, another 5-8, and we saw both players sort of struggle with making mission progress here. Legorve traditionally struggles with mission progress, but tried to go for an early hidden microfilm, and it didn't work. Meanwhile, Skrewwl00se struggled with mission progress and got shot for a late statue visit. Let's see how they handle the 5 necessary missions on this 5 of 8 venue.
I don't think it's in Legor's wheelhouse particularly, but what I would like to see, and maybe because it's not in his wheelhouse, is a time or two. Just extend the game, give yourself more opportunity so you can continue taking these good opportunities that you do take, and so you don't have to force, be it at the end of the game or in the case of that Purlin on Terrace in the middle of the game.
And we requested a drink from this waiter, from Toby, rather. God, I'm reading the action log, you can tell. And even though the laser was on the other side, we didn't go for the purloin. Could have gotten away with it, maybe. Here we are trying a bug near the ambassador with a lot of weird paths. Wow, we are just curving around
I
this.
think we're trying to replicate a bounce path, but it was some of the sloppiest bounce path I've ever seen. And look, the Corv nodding up and down like he thinks he did a good job. It wasn't a good job there, buddy.
Yeah,
We got
all we can say is that Legorve was trying to do something there, and whether or not it worked, it doesn't look like Skrewwl00se cares either way. So instead, we're just going to pick up this first fingerprint, a nice stop as the ambassador is over there at the statues. That does give us a second fingerprint option as well if we wanted to go for it, but it would probably be too obvious to chase it directly. So instead, we're walking over to this half of the venue, which has nothing going on, and we're going to use it as an opportunity to get our first inspects.
Yeah, this is I think Legorve's third game where we haven't finished a mission and then we do an inspect and get the highlight. Skrewwl00se has been taking every highlight on statue inspects. This isn't surprising at this point. What is surprising is Legorve keeps on just
Here's a
willingly
bug
taking.
opportunity as we pass the ambassador, but Legorve has to curve in to take it. If we had been able to keep walking straight, it would have been fantastic, but that curve was very likely to have been seen. Skrewwl00se was on that half of the venue, but no major reaction from Skrewwl00se.
Yeah, the problem is even if you got a hint of that bug path, and you sure should have, you were right over there. Legorve still has to finish 4 missions, and there isn't really a place to hide. And maybe you can do like the cheesy microfilm, but doing that as a highlight as a character as tall as Seek is already an uh, ugly choice to have to make.
Either way, when it
Also,
comes to mission progress, Legorve has definitely been improving on some past performances, having partial inspects, partial fingerprints, and a bug. We're in a really good position to win here. Basically, all we need is to finish the seduce, get a contact, and then just finish the missions that we've already started, which are only soft tells at this point. You won't be giving Screw any major reason to shoot you if he's not suspecting you for the bug.
it looks like there's okay. The DA and the SDA over here are really messing around. There's a safety off, and I don't think he actually put it on the person he meant to. It might have been us. There's no other highlights over here. Um, I appreciate the trying to communicate with the casters, but they also don't want to put the laser over their opponents.
And here's the contact coming in. These
Banana
conversations are
bread.
really full. Skrewwl00se isn't going to get much out of this. Just a few lowlights
This is the
available.
problem.
We're watching for the Purloin, or it looked like it, and it happens. Legorve takes the list and gets shot.
Yeah, we're at a point now. And if you do it, well, let's discuss that. You don't get to do a white banana bread into white purloin. You stand there with Toby behind you for like 8 seconds. We're at a point though with this set where either player just needs 2 wins. In that sense, we are tied because of the advantage that Skrewwl00se gets for being the higher seed.
Yeah, and that's a second game now where Legorve went for a Purloin even though he could have won with soft tells. Here's that early time ad from Skrewwl00se that we were talking about on Library. Legorve was aware of it there and looking for the early time ad. Is he going to be looking for it here?
Nope. The answer is no.
And
We
there's
are
a bug opportunity. We fail it, but luckily we had so much cover from Irish there and the conversations being
Banana
full that it
bread.
wasn't seen. Here's a fake banana bread leading into a Purloin. That's how you do it. This one was a fake. The list is gone, and Legorve is getting highlights, lowlights on the other side, not looking at the list at all, still not checking it. Now it's visible for the first time, but it doesn't look like Legorve is looking at it.
Yeah, so Legorve took about 5 or 6 lowlights. There was about 7 or 8 available. Did a really good job on that part. It's just he's left the list vulnerable and the ambassador vulnerable. We took the list in this situation.
Yeah, but the good news for Legorve is that all of those lowlights are correct. So that's about half of the party lowlit. And so the question is, was it a good trade-off for Skrewwl00se? You got one mission done, but half the party is lowlit, and you are still going to need to get the contact later, assuming you go for a real one.
I think given the time ad, I'm not sure if it's a good decision, but with the time ad, it's a lot better. Because things like the 23% flirt that we're sitting on don't look as bad when you go, well, I still got 3 minutes left, despite the fact
There's
it's
another opportunity for a bug as the ambassador was pathing behind us, but Skrewwl00se didn't go for it. Now the flirt's up to 47%. It's not a great number, but thanks to the time app, we will still have a lot of time to get it done. Here's the ambassador coming back again. We're in a really good spot to bug this ambassador, but none of the opportunities have really worked out for us.
Yeah, this isn't like, oh, we'll get a bug there too. This isn't like Aquarium where you can just run across the conversation bug and then run back and really expect it to go well for you. It's just unfortunate that he's been so close to us so many times, and now we're just eating a highlight for inspects with no bug.
Yeah, this is the time to start making that mission progress. About 2.5 minutes left. Getting the first inspects is good. The ambassador leaving a print over there on the green shelf, leaving another one on statues. Skrewwl00se has a tendency to go for prints, tries to go for that briefcase, but the other twin picks it up, and that's our seduction target again. I just noticed. I
Yeah,
wonder.
he keeps on doing the Alabama shuffle over here. It's never really that great in my opinion because it just results in two twins standing next to each other, which is really notable. But he's done it a few times now. It might be this might be his concession that this match is actually not worth anything. So he's
There's
just
another bug attempt as the ambassador was walking by.
yeah.
Unfortunately, this one was seen and it didn't even take. Skrewwl00se, if he had gotten any of those bugs earlier, he would have been in a great position. But unfortunately, he had to keep bugging and it got him shot.
Yeah, this puts Legorve on match point with 2 games to go. What was the last pick?
The last pick is Modern. That's a really hard one for anyone to get 2 wins on. Legorve has absolutely dominated Sniper on Modern all season, so it should be relatively easy for Legorve to get the win here. Skrewwl00se would need to win 2 games in a row.
And when we say the two games is hard on Modern, I think it's particularly the spy side. It's already a map that just generally looking at the statistics is pretty sniper biased. And then if we've looked at the play so far, we've seen Legorov not being able to buy a green test and been having pacing issues. He's been lethal on the spot on the sniper side, and Skrewwl00se has gotten shot for one thing or another. The sort of thing that we just saw on Veranda with a bunch of snipers, on Library with a bunch of sniper wins. Modern, we can't really expect much. This is Legorv really playing with house money on the spy side. If he can win this, obviously he'll take it, but it's the sniper he's looking forward towards.
Yeah, and really, Legorv's pacing issues are just amplified on Modern for that reason. It's already hard enough to complete missions as a spy when you have to walk around so much, and when it's so easy for the sniper to see you at all the mission sites. There's really not much occlusion on this venue at all. And so I'd like to see Legorv prove that he can play a good Modern spy game here. But like you said, he doesn't necessarily have to. Looks like the first decision is just to go over to the bar, pick up the delegate option. There were a nice number of people here, so if the list goes away, it can't be narrowed down immensely. Maybe that's what Legorv is planning.
Yeah, Skrewll00se, as far as I've seen, both from just casual and competitive play, does have a pretty good memory. If it's going to come down to does Skrewll00se take a bunch of low lights for who was at the bar, I would take him as much as anybody, barring, Kaylee. This is a bit quick. So generally with the delegate, you want there to be as much time between you at the bar and you delegating. And I think Seek, this could have been 10, 15 seconds later and still gone off.
And
It's going
there's
to
the
be a,
guest list going. Skrewwl00se sees it right on screen, and here's the reaction coming off from Skrewwl00se, zooming that laser around the party, getting lowlights on everyone who hasn't been to the bar. This party is going to be narrowed down, and that's going to make it a lot harder for Legorve to get the win, especially because we just returned a briefcase that didn't even
not
have
low
a
light
fingerprint
Seek,
on it.
you monster. We are so confident that it was a delegate that we've even low lit the guy who took the list, and that's our selection target.
Legorv shaking the camera, not happy to have gotten a red test flirt, probably compounded with the fact that we picked up that briefcase with no fingerprint on it. This is already not looking good for Legorv. The party is narrowed down, and he needs to do 4 more missions, and already has a lot of activity.
With these action tests, it really does feel like Legorv is the one feeling the pressure, and it makes sense. He is the one with the incredible stakes. Legorv needs to win this and then win 2 more after this, set wise. In this game,
Banana
I
bread.
think he'll be happy that he gets to play
Oh,
Modern Sniper as his final. I know I was on the weekend.
there's a contact coming off. It's letting off even more lowlights, and the party is now narrowed down to only 5 people. It's going to be very hard for Legorv to get 2 more missions after the flirt past Skrewwl00se here.
I do want to note that Skrewll00se did get Seek back up to neutral light, which is good.
That's good. That's maybe Legorve's only hope. It at least shows that Skrewwl00se wasn't super confident on it. It seems clear to me that Skrewwl00se doesn't know who delegated to Seek. Otherwise, the party would have been narrowed down even more. And that's Legorve's only hope for a win here.
Yeah, I mean the classic plays here would be like inspect flirt into inspect swap. That would be doable with the time, but I'm not sure it's doable with the sniper watching you. Just with only 5 lights left, and none of them are really doing anything. This is a real untenable spot. Skrewwl00se is not happy, but he's in a good position as long as he's not too jumpy.
And there's really no need to be jumpy here. It's a 5 of 8. You're going to notice if one of your only 5 neutral lights left completes missions. Here's Legorve going for a print, but there's only 40 seconds left. Legorve really won't be able to get a second print unless he makes a mad dash to another mission site that has a print on it. And even then, can't finish the flirt. Legorve would need to do a time ad. Looks like we're just going to go for a swap. I mean, you just need to do the quickest mission progress you can, clanking the stat. Look, Legorve knew that none of that was going to work. It was a desperation play. And with that, the score is now 7-8. Remember, if there is a tie, 8-8, Skrewwl00se wins for being the higher seed, which means this is match point for both players. Whoever wins this next game wins the set. If that's Legorve, Legorve will be able to continue on the path to more wins and earn one of the top 8 spots for promotion in this tournament. If Legorve doesn't get the win here, Legorve will no longer be able to get one of those 8 spots to make it to copper or above.
Yeah, and there's still things to play for. He still wants to beat people who are above him in the rankings, but welcome to modern sniping as the absolutely lethal sniper that you are. I'm gonna go check the stats. I have a feeling he might not have ever lost a modern sniping this season. That sounds like the sort of thing that Legorve.
He has actually lost one modern sniper game.
Don't
Only
jinx the man.
one. And we're going to see if Skrewwl00se can get the second spy win ever uh, on Modern against Legorve. And I'm telling you, Skrewwl00se is going to have to do something bold if he wants it. Just a standard slow game isn't going to work.
This is bold. The double dip here with the flirt and the inspect. Something like a swap would be very evocative, and I don't think it's going to happen, just based on what they've been doing the rest of the set, which is relatively sensible play.
And so Skrewwl00se picking up the highlight, the people at the bar picking up highlights as well. That's a risk for Legorve, muddying up your highlights, maybe not going to remember who has which one. Skrewwl00se goes to the bar as well, which means he would have gotten a bar highlight either way. Are we going to see the same thing we saw last game, where an early Purloin narrows down the party too much?
Yeah, Legorve's memory's been absolutely fantastic. I think if there's someone I would say, maybe not immediately, but is going to be able to sort through assorted highlights, Legorve's the sort of player I'm like, yeah, he's probably capable of that. Uh, there aren't many. The ability to like really just have all 100% of your brain while playing Spy Party is rare, and Legorve's one of the ones I'm concerned is able to do that.
Screw
82% on the flirt.
Yeah, Skrewll00se being really respectful with the flirt there, but thanks to a green test, it's up to 82%. Now it's a question of, is Skrewll00se going to delegate to either Teal or Rocker here, or does he feel that would narrow the party down too much? He has options, and that's been a running theme tonight, is making the correct choices. Even if you have the option to do something, that doesn't mean you should do it. And Skrewll00se, if he does want to delegate, no, decided not to. Instead, going back to the bar, we really want this print that the ambassador is leaving. So we are requesting a drink, but Duke was there before us, which means it's going to be a difficult print for us. That probably means it's not tracked, but Duke rejects the drink. We're in a really good position to get an easy print here, which may not be credited as much as usual because there was at least one person between the ambassador and when we took it.
The concern I have for Skrewwl00se, I don't think Legorve is particularly behavioral, but we are playing the same game. We're doing respectful flirts, we're doing fingerprints, when we're playing a slow game. And to note, even if you're not playing behaviorally, this hasn't worked. This has just gotten Skrewwl00se shot. In a lot of other games that we played already in this set, also
Uh,
missing pads and doing awkward bounces is not helpful. stop talking and
No,
then
and
we're
here's
winning.
a delegate finally coming off to Smallman. There's quite a few people who have been at the bar. It's been a nice stream in and out recently. The problem is it's really easy to remember that we were there because we got the fingerprint after the AMBA left it for us. The hope for Skrewwl00se is that Legorve just isn't aware of that print. Maybe thought it was a difficult because Duke was there. Now the guest list is going off. Legorve immediately starting to narrow down the party. Is Legorve aware of exactly who sent Smallman or not? A little bit of a tentative reaction here. Really late on some of these lowlights indicates to me that Legorve isn't super on top of it.
He did a zoom in on our conversation, and the concern I have about that zoom in is it might have been a consideration of do I really need to shoot? And the answer is no. Now we're not shooting for the inspect here either.
Now, here's the question. Because we went to the bar and fit in with the other bar highlights, does Legorve remember that Skrewwl00se's initial highlight was for statues, or does Legorve think that that was the first visit? We have a lot of progress right now for not being shot. Here's a
Banana
fake
bread.
banana bread coming off. Luckily, Smallman is in the conversation with us, so that can't be ruled out, but we are ruling out some more people that Legorve hadn't yet ruled out. I don't know if that
There's
fake
no
was
real.
necessary.
Yeah, the only people who could have been real for are already low lit. It's really awkward and a bit unfortunate on Skrewll00se's side. I think it might also be game losing. We got
Yeah, we need
18
to get this
seconds here
real
left.
contact right
Banana
now,
bread.
and then we need to get another fingerprint. We need
And
to
the
leave
shot comes
conversation
off. Let's
completely,
go.
but there's the shot. Legorov was on top of it and was just waiting to shoot Skrewwl00se the instant he got the real banana bread. And with that, Legorov takes the set, an upset, lower seed versus the higher seed in a close match, 9-7. And with
Yeah.
that, Skrewwl00se no longer has a chance at making one of the top 8 spots for promotion, and Legorve will just need 2 more wins in the upcoming weeks, and he's proven that he's more than capable of getting them.
So we saw Skrewll00se go down 9-2 to yours. Yourself there, Dells. This is a much closer set, and I think Legorve is as scary as anybody in this tournament. It was a really good showing by him, and I do want to give him his well played. That being said, Legorve played through 2 thrown games. He didn't hit very many green tests at all. I don't think he's going to be particularly happy with his play, but he played well, and he got the win deservingly.
Indeed, and so we're just going to check with the players right now to see if they'd like to join us for an interview.
Legorve's always up for this sort of thing, isn't he?
Great, so let's head on over to headquarters chat.
Yeah, for sure.
And we have Legorve with us. Ponub, if you could just message Screw to make sure he knows it's available since he left the lobby.
Yeah, I can do it.
That would be nice. Thank you.
Oh God.
Sorry, that sounded like sarcastic, but it really would
Dude,
be nice.
sniping on Modern in a situation where it's last game, I've been there, and it's stressful, and I want to hear from you how you feeling.
Yeah, going in there, I was like in the loading screen. I'm like, you know what? This is what I got here on. Like, I'm good at this. I can win this, right? And then I don't know. I'm just like doubting myself, and then second BB, I'm like, okay, I got it.
Yeah, luckily it looks like both of those modern games came down to an early delegate just narrowing down the party. But let's go back and start at the beginning. I'd like to cover some of the key moments from these matches. Starting in Aquarium, we had 2 really interesting shots where the snipers had to make shots before they could even be certain that a hardtail was happening on screen. The first Aquarium game, Legorve, you were the spy as Tex, and Skrewwl00se, you took a shot on Tex the moment the clock started hanging. Can you let us know what was going through your mind at that point?
Yeah, I just felt like it was a call over for the swap up top. And I think I was a little suspicious just of his movement up to the front and everything like that. But
Yeah,
it
if
just
I
kind of felt like him.
recall, it was not a swap. It was Red Dress just doing the real timing. It was a real unfortunate on the Gore side. There's a lot of unfortunate things that happened
Wait,
in this
wait,
set on both
isn't that
sides.
Wait, yeah,
another
we're on the
game?
different one.
Yeah,
Oh,
in
that
the
was
first
different
game there
game too?
was a
Okay.
swap going off. This is the game where Skrewwl00se had to take the shot on Tex before Tex could hide behind the shark, and Legorve
I
tried to
was
run behind the shark, and it just didn't work, and it was really amazing. A really great play from Skrewwl00se to notice that that was a possibility and to take the shot while you still could. It was the second game of Aquarium. Skrewwl00se was Tex this time. Wow, you both played Tex. And in this case, Skrewwl00se, you went to the back statues at 55 seconds left to finish off your inspect and your fingerprints, but you chose not to go for a swap. Can you explain to us what was your decision making there?
I just felt like he would have shot me for it. I think I was hoping for just finishing with bug or something of that nature. I don't recall exactly what I wanted to do. I had a plan. I don't remember what it was, but I felt like he would have noticed the swap and I would have just gotten shot.
And Legorve, if Tex had stayed at that statue for a little bit longer to block a swap, would you have taken the shot?
I think I was leaning for it. Yeah, I was definitely zoomed in, keeping it on the edge of the zoom.
And
And
yeah,
then-
look at that over there at 30 seconds. Oprah moves over. It looks exactly like she was called for a greed swap. That was really, really unfortunate for Skrewwl00se. And so in the
Can we jump
third,
ahead to the high-rise game? Because I wanna give
Oh,
my
I think
we
we
don't
should
have to talk
go
about high rise.
in order. It's just easier
Go for it,
from
Dels.
there to keep the replays in order there. And so in the next game, Legorve did an amazing BB split into a bug, got a nice win finishing the statues later. In the fourth aquarium game, Skrewwl00se got a bug of his own, but ultimately Legorve chose to shoot boots.
Oh
We
yeah.
were a little bit curious. The shot comes off there right at the end as she's in conversation flirting. Legorve, can you explain to us what made you shoot boots there? And also, can you explain, you highlight Skrewwl00se for the bug path at 2 minutes 36 seconds. How big of a suspect was Skrewwl00se, and why did you ultimately shoot boots?
Boots was the suspect for the same reason that Skrewwl00se was. Bug pass behind the shark, and I don't know, they weren't rote highlights. Like I knew that they were for bug pass. Yeah, Boots was just flirting at the end, and it seemed about 45 seconds after, like in between some of her talks. So I was like, she was just flirting to win.
Great. And so on the first high rise game, Legorve was the spy as Irish, and an unfortunate shot came off on General at the end. Skrewwl00se, can you explain to us what was going through your mind at the end of that game?
So to me, I thought it was General and he was panic bugging. And when he started talking, I thought it was the lean for a bug. So I thought
I
it
see
was a
that.
bug.
The issue and the reason why it's unfortunate is he was outside the conversation during that banana bread.
Yeah, it kind of felt wrong, but I didn't have the timing exact. I was thinking like maybe he got a really crisp green into split just like perfectly. Yeah, it wasn't a great shot, but I don't know.
You weren't wrong. The spy was doing the banana bread to cover the bug because Legorve was doing some real.
High rise was not pretty.
Yeah, these aren't pretty plays, but you did see the not pretty play coming. It's just the wrong person, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Not that the other high rise game was much prettier.
Yeah, the second high rise game, Legorve, I'd just like to confirm with you, was there a no talk in the front conversation at about 2 minutes 45?
Yes, I believe so.
And so unfortunately, the party got very narrowed down. Skrewwl00se, you didn't look like you were planning to finish mission progress. What was your game plan here as Bling Twin?
Let me scroll through it real quick and see what I was doing. Flirt contact. I was just playing it easy and safe until I was going to be forced to get my third mission. At the time when the other twin was near me, I kind of felt like there was like he was suspicious of Plane Twin. So at like that 40-second mark, Plane Twin goes and takes that bug path, and then I was going to wait to see if Legorve would shoot Plane Twin for it. And then once I noticed that Plane Twin wasn't going to get shot by walking past the Amba twice, since I was going to time out, I figured I may as well go for the bug.
Yeah, and it looks like the other twin was more of a suspect because they were the one who was highlit.
Mm-hmm.
Legorve, if that other twin did go to statues or get a fingerprint, would you have shot them instead?
I forget what he's highlight for. I think I was
You
more
only
onto
had two
Skrewwl00se.
suspects.
No talk, I think.
Yeah, it was a no talk to down to 4 or something along that line,
Yeah.
and then a banana bread to down to 2.
He was talking during White BB. I think that's it.
Yeah, he was talking during White BB too.
Makes sense.
So
Is why he
I
got
think
the highlight.
I think I was actually more suspicious of Screw just because he rejected 2 drinks, and that's a very Skrewwl00se thing to do.
Oh no, there's someone else who
Interesting.
cares about rejects.
Behavioralism.
I know, right? It's great.
You've revealed a secret, Legorve.
I mean, when
time
it's
and level
down
play.
to 2.
Hey, I took a drink. What are you talking about? I didn't reject. Thank
Yeah.
you.
No, the thing I liked was the seduction target talked like 5 times and didn't reject drinks, while Skrewwl00se was sitting there not talking and rejecting drinks, and I'm happy that someone else caught on to that. Well,
I think I don't even know if I rejected. Actually,
I
Oh, no,
see
we're gonna assume that
2.
you did. Don't look
That's
at the
all
log.
right.
2.
Don't look at the log. Don't look at the log.
And
Great
so
one,
let's move on to the third
No.
high-rise game.
No,
This
no,
Skip it.
one is going to
Nope,
be
no,
burned
no.
into my mind forever, but we
No.
have to ask about it. Legorve, hold on. I don't even have a question for you first. Both players made some mistakes here. Let's start with you, Skrewwl00se. So this is the third high-rise game. Legorve is the spy as Hare. Gets a clean bug off after the banana bread, just needs the flirt to finish. But my first question is for you, Skrewwl00se. This contact and bug comes off at about a minute on the clock, and you lowlight Legorve for it. Can you explain to us why the lowlight?
Yeah. So this round, I was doing a little bit of like highlighting and lowlighting for suspicion rather than mission tracking a little bit. Let me see where the lowlight happened. Why did I lowlight?
BB split.
I think
Or
yeah,
BB too
yeah,
late.
I think it was the timing of the green BB. I just figured that it couldn't have been. Yeah, it was just an incorrect based off the banana bread. Funnily enough, I actually had Oprah paired with General because of the flirt at the blue bookcase, and I was very suspicious of Oprah until that banana bread.
That's right. We did notice that you highlit Oprah at the start for the bookcase flirt, brought her back down to neutral, and we had been wondering the whole time if you remembered the flirt pair. The problem was that General returned to her, so it makes sense that you wouldn't have had it imprinted in your mind so much. And then the question for Legorve, well, I don't know what the question is. I think
Pass.
the question is
Pass.
No, what we're gonna ask is a more generic question. It didn't feel like you hit many green tests. Did you feel it on your side?
No, I did not.
During the match, Legorve said that I believe you said that you thought flirt was complete. Like you just thought it was done.
I got in conversation. I'm like, okay, I can just flirt from anywhere here. I obviously couldn't. I was at 78. And I got up to 98. And I was just sitting there like, okay, just waiting for the mission clock to run down. Where's the mission clock?
You didn't don't worry, but you didn't have any options because you can't do inspects and there wasn't a fingerprint readily available. I guess you could grab that briefcase. I can see.
I was running for the amp.
You already had bug, buddy.
Yeah.
And so we're going to skip ahead to the second library game. The fourth high-rise game, Smallman bugged, got shot. The first library game, Legorve did a microfilm, got shot. But the second library game with Skrewwl00se as Salmon, this was a really interesting one. Just to remind people, Skrewwl00se wasn't making a lot of mission progress throughout the match. At one point, at about, let's see, 2 minutes, he took out a book from yellow. He brought it over to the railing at a minute 50, and it got marked. He gave up on it and put it back in yellow, but then was still able to do another time ad, bring another book out, get the microfilm done, get a difficult drink print at the railing, and then unfortunately got shot for a late statue visit. But I thought this was really fantastic back and forth play from the two of you. I'd like to hear a little bit. Let's start with you, Legorve. What was your suspicion progression? Ooh, God, I'm losing my voice. What was your suspicion progression on Salmon throughout all of this?
So on library, my game plan was to highlight early window visitors because Skrewwl00se time ads like every game. So I highlight Disney, who was the only one at the start, and then no time had come off, and I'm like, this is weird. Okay, I'll just ignore that. And then I was pretty suspicious about where his book came from.
I did
Then I
time
saw
that
him.
early, by the way, at the
It
That
wasn't.
I
It wasn't
caught it.
chaotic.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't a chaos
for a
time.
minute. Gotcha.
It was like
Okay.
30, 40 seconds in. The other question to ask is, was that a shot for inspect or a shot for swap? Because we couldn't necessarily see the statue on the replay.
Yeah, I couldn't see the statue. I thought he had inspects done, so it was like a side statue swap, and I knew about the drink print. I didn't see that it was difficult, but I like credited that.
I knew I should have one cycled that inspect so you wouldn't think that I'm swapping, but I just like I don't know. I didn't know if like one cycle or two cycles would be more suspicious there. Obviously I was wrong. I feel like I should have just one cycled and walked away so that you don't see a swap.
A bear is showing off that you totally can see the statue if you're better at the game.
And Skrewwl00se, what was your plan then with the microfilms? What made you return the yellow one normally, and then why did you think it was
So-
okay to go for a second microfilm after that?
So I returned the yellow. Do you know at what time I pull it out? Okay, wait, here it is. And then I go to railings, and it's when he marked it, and he marked it green. I thought he marked it yellow, and I was like, he just marked it
I
yellow.
wasn't sure about it.
Yeah, I thought he had it marked yellow, and I just felt like if I went for it, that he would shoot me. So I just put it back, hoping that an innocent book return would take his eyes off me for a little bit.
Nice. And so moving on to Terrace, this is where we have one of the most notable moments of the set. And I'm sorry, I do have a question for you, Legorve. First Terrace game, Legorve, as Irish, gets a fantastic reverse drive-by bug at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And then, Legorve, you decided to go for a purloin. Can you explain what the plan was with that?
That was a nice bug.
I was waiting for that bug. Like that was like my main plan, but once the double agent split from the first BB, everything kind of fell apart. So I saw that Tex stepped next to me with a drink. So I'm like, okay, he has a drink. I don't know if he's out for BB though, because everything got ruined.
So basically, you didn't feel like you could win by doing another contact and flirt, is what you're saying.
I don't even know if he had time, really.
I didn't want to do another contact. I would have tried to finish with flirt. I just wanted people to have contact suspicion.
Mm-hmm. And so then the second Terrace game, Skrewwl00se wasn't able to get the fingerprint he needed, had to do a desperation time ad. Then we moved on to Veranda, where Legorve, you definitely improved on some of your past spy style. You got really good mission progress, half the
Just
inspects,
some.
half the fingerprints, and a bug. But then at the end, you decided to go for a purloin after the BB. Did you consider just finishing with the soft tells, or were you set on going for another hard tell instead?
That was the bug. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
that weird little
Skrewwl00se.
twitch
You were.
did.
Let's go back to that bug actually before we talk about Legorve's ending. The bug happens here at 2 minutes 30 seconds. Legorve had to dive into the ambassador to get it.
Oh.
Skrewwl00se, what were you thinking about that?
I mean, pretty much that had to have been like a bug. There was no reason that his character should turn, but I didn't see any hand stuff, and I think I kind of just like put suspicion in my mind on him, and then kind of forgot about it for a while.
Do you think
but-
that if he hadn't done that bug, you wouldn't have been watching as closely for the BB purloin?
Let me just speed through really quick. It's hard to say, to be honest. After that point, I was like really heavily watching him, and it seems like that was the reason, because it was pretty much right after I even toggled safety off, and just his positioning and going over to that area, it just really seemed like him. So that definitely gave him a lot of suspicion. Not a ton, because otherwise I'd just shoot for it, but it made me watch him. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And yeah, my question to you, Legorve, was were you considering going for the soft tail finish? What made you go for the purloin?
I mean, there was a fingerprint at the statue on the corner. I was gonna go there, but then Toby came to me, and I don't know. Old habits die hard.
All
I
right.
mean, he would still need
Go
another
ahead.
mission, swap or seduce. Seduce was at 83, so he probably could have just finished with that. But
Yeah. And from there, second veranda game, Skrewwl00se got shot for a bug, and we moved on to the modern games where both players did an early purloin and narrowed the party down a bit too much, and the snipers were on top of it. And that
yeah,
brought us to the end of the set. Do either of you have any other comments? Anything you think we missed that you'd like to explain?
on modern, I noticed in watching some of Legorve's replays that he favors Purloin. Really on all of just altogether he favors Purloin. But I knew that I'm personally weak to Purloin, especially bar Purloin. So I knew that I had to be very kind of careful with it. So this time I committed like a decent amount of headspace to memorizing who was at bar, which I don't normally do as much. So I knew to kind of really watch for that. And I was just reciting the names of who was at bar over and over. And then once it went off, I was like, okay, just keep. And then I was able to narrow it down.
Great. Well played set to both of you. I mean, it was incredibly close, came down to just the
Yeah.
match point, and this is just something we're seeing a lot of in these tournament of position matches. They're going really close, and sometimes it just comes down to who can break serve once, and that happened on high rise, and that just sort of dictated the rest of the set. Skrewwl00se always just 1 point behind from bringing it back up to a tie. So you guys definitely kept it close the
And
whole
as a
whole time.
reminder, Legorve, congratulations on being at least Obsidian.
Woo!
I know you still have a lot to play for, and
Yeah.
so we didn't really mention it because we're really looking at the bronze as the big trophy there if you can win 2 more games. Not that it gets much easier.
Yeah.
Skrewwl00se, I'm happy that you played a much better set than you did against Dells. Now that we're all in the room together, and
Mhm.
honestly, you did well. You guys both made a fantastic show of it. Made our job easy.
Yeah. I thought I was under the impression that I did not have a chance to get promoted to gold after my first loss against Dells. Did I actually have a chance?
You do not. It's you needed to win the first 3 matches if you're going to
Okay.
get promoted. The
That's what I
idea
thought.
is that you get to play against people who are weak because they're in Oak, and that's a complete lie. Because it turns out these players are absolutely grinding games and fantastic.
Yeah.
Both of you
No,
are in the room, so it's easy to say.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
being said, we got more live casts here throughout the week. I think we're trying to cast every game. Just keep an eye on the Discord for those. In regards to our Saturday and Sunday casts, they're also going to be going on along with likely, I don't know exactly when it's going to be because it's going to be up to Opie and Yeesh on when they do their gold final.
Yes, and so the
And
next match coming up for livecast is going to be Iggy the Grifter versus Ascend Beyond, and this is happening at 9 a.m. PDT tomorrow, 12 p.m. EDT. So tune in for that if you're interested. And then Thursday night, we have Zero Doom versus JD, as well as casts coming up on the weekend at the usual time. Thank you to Skrewwl00se and Legorve for joining us for this interview. Thank you for letting us cast your match and for playing so well. Thank you to Ponoob for casting.
welcome.
And thanks to Aberar again for being our host and navigating the screen through that interview so deftly. Thanks to everyone for watching, and have a good evening, everyone.
Good night and good luck.